We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello dear students, myself Dr. Damayanti G. Badka, Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering Department from SN Patel Institute of Technology and Research Center Umrah, Babin, managed by Vidya Bharati Trust Institution having institute code 049. Today we are going to discuss about topic thin cylinder, which is come under your GTU syllabus of Subject Structural Analysis 1, having subject code 3140603 of branch B for semester Civil Engineering. Today we are going to discuss about thin cylinder. That topic come under different branch under different subjects. So it is a very main topic as well as easy too. So focus on whole lecture. If we'll talk about the thin cylinder, then cylindrical and spherical vessels. Please focus. Cylindrical and spherical vessels are used in engineering field to store and transport fluids, different type of fluids. Such vessels are tank, boiler, compressed air receiver, pipeline, etc. These vessels, when empty, are subjected to atmospheric pressure internally as well as externally, and the resultant pressure on the wall of the shell is nil. But whenever a vessel is subjected to an internal pressure, like we can say that due to air, due to water, due to steam, etc., its wall are subjected to tensile stresses, right? So we can say that here in thin cylinder, we will go with a different type of stress in this topic. Now we will discuss about thin cylindrical shell. Then our main concern, what is thin cylindrical shell? So here it is clearly mentioned when T, small t lesser or equal to d by 10 to d by 15, it is called thin cylindrical shell. So now here we have question, what is T and what is D in that definition? So T means thickness of shell, D means internal dia of shell. Okay, so from that we can say thickness of the shell lesser or equal to internal dia of shell divided by 10 to internal dia of shell divided by 15. It is called thin cylindrical shell. But simply we can write like that. In thin cylindrical shell, hook stress and longitudinal stress are constant over the thickness and radial stresses are negligible. Here, opposed to that condition, T greater than d by 10 to d by 15, it is called thick cylindrical shell. Here we can focus here thin cylindrical shell, and opposite to that means we can say T greater than d by 10 to d by 15 is thick cylindrical shell. Now there are stresses developed in thin cylindrical shell. So here we have question that which type of stresses are there and how many stresses. So generally whenever a thin cylindrical shell is subjected to an internal pressure small p, its wall are subjected to two types of tensile stresses. Which type of stresses? Tensile stresses. First one is hoop stress. We can say circumferential stress. And second one is longitudinal stress. Now, if we will go for hoop stress, which is called as circumferential stress 2, and it is denoted by sigma c. This notation for stress, here C for circumferential stress. So for that sigma C, we can say that consider a thin cylindrical shell subjected to an internal pressure as shown in figure. You can see that we can say that cylindrical shell is there. Okay, and as whatever written over here, as per that stresses are generated in that shell, where stress C is equal to, here you can see circumferential stress in the shell, or we can say sigma 1. Here I have mentioned sigma C is equal to circumferential stress in the shell material, or we can say sigma 1. Here in figure you can also see that stress is developed in that shell, right? Length L is there, diameter D is there, internal pressure P is there. So whatever we observe in that figure, that simply we mention stress C is equal to circumferential stress in the shell material, or we can say it's a sigma 1. Small p is equal to internal pressure, D is equal to internal dia of shell, T is equal to thickness of shell. Now, if we'll call about the total pressure, then capital P is equal to pressure into area. Okay, so pressure we have P. Okay, and if we'll talk about the area, then D multiply L. So if we'll talk about the total pressure P, then that will be pressure into area small p d L. And if we'll talk about the resisting area A, then it will be 2TL, right? So, therefore, circumferential stress C, sigma C is equal to P by A. So, what is our P? Here we already identify PDL. What is our area A? Resisting area A, we already identified here twice TL. So, that circumferential stress sigma C will be P by L is equal to PDL upon 2TL, right? If here efficiency of longitudinal joint, then stress C will be P into D divided by 2T, then efficiency of longitudinal joint. Therefore, circumferential stress C, which is sigma C, will be PD upon 2T. Here stress C act in the direction of circumference, which is fully tensile stress. Okay. Now, if we talk about the longitudinal stress, which is like sigma L or sigma 2, then you have to observe the figure. From that figure, you can understand pressure is there, stresses are there, dia is given. Okay, so here total pressure along length of shell P, capital P is equal to small p pi by 4 d square. And what will be resisting area? It will be pi dt, right? And longitudinal stress L we will consider, then as per previous P by A. So P by A, P we have P into pi by 4 d square as per that figure, and area as per that figure will be pi dt. Okay, so P by A, so P pi by 4 d square upon pi dt. So as per that, pi will be cancelled and sigma L will be PD upon 4t. Stress del L act in the direction of length, which is fully tensile stress. We know, we already discussed that both the stresses in tensile nature. If cylinder is open or very long, then that value will be 0. Means we can say that stress L, or we can say that sigma L will be 0. And if we'll call about the efficiency of circumferential joint, then sigma L will be PD divided by 40 efficiency of circumferential joint. Now, we have to focus on change in dimension of a thin cylindrical shell due to internal pressure. We have to keep the mind regarding that theories. Why? Because based on that theory, whatever equation we will derive, based on that we will calculate the problem. So consider a thin cylindrical shell subjected to internal pressure, where P is equal to internal pressure, D is equal to internal dia of shell, T is equal to thickness of shell, and small l is equal to length of shell. We know that as per our previous equation, sigma C is equal to PD by 2T and sigma L is equal to PD upon 4T. Let del D, or we can say that delta D is equal to change in diameter of shell, and delta L will be change in length of shell. Therefore circumferential strain 1 is equal to delta D upon D is equal to stress C divided by capital E minus stress L divided by small a m upon E. Why here m is there? M is nothing but 1 upon m, Poisson's ratio. So don't get confused over here. So based on that, if we'll simplify as per whatever equations data we have, then it will be PD upon 2TE minus PD upon 4TME. Here M means 1 upon M and it is Poisson's ratio. Therefore, circumferential strain is equal to PD upon 2TE multiply 1 minus 1 upon 2m. This is our circumferential strain. That type of equation will be helpful to calculate the problem. But if you will prepare for any competitive exam in future, then that type of equation will be useful, because based on that many MCQs asked in examination. So remember this. So now longitudinal strain, which is strain 2, is equal to delta L upon L is equal to sigma L upon E minus sigma C upon ME is equal to, as per whatever equations and value we have, it will be PD upon 4TE minus PD upon 2TME. If we'll simplify, then it is very simple. Strain 2 is equal to PD upon 2TE in bracket 1 half minus 1 upon M. Therefore, change in diameter delta D will be sigma 1 into D. What is that sigma? It is nothing but strain. Okay, whatever strain we calculated. So strain 1 into D, and change in length will be delta L is equal to strain 2 into L. Here we have to keep one note in mind. When the shell is subjected to an internal pressure, there will be an increase in the diameter as well as the length of shell. Now we have to go with another theory. What is that theory? Change in volume of a thin cylindrical shell due to internal pressure. Here please focus, it is that mistake is that here it is a thin. Change in volume of thin cylindrical shell due to internal pressure. So our main concern, it is a volume, right? So volume of shell will be V equal to pi by 4 into D square into L. So if we'll go for the final volume, then V plus del V whatever change in volume. Okay. So whenever change in volume will be concerned, so how a volume will be changed? Because of its dia or because of its length. Okay. So here as per the volume and as per the final volume, here pi by 4 d square is there, but here our intention to concern del V means change in volume, and change in volume will be because of dia D and because of length L. So V plus del V is equal to pi by 4 in bracket D plus delta D whole square multiply L plus delta L bracket over. Therefore, change in volume delta V is equal to V plus delta V minus volume. Okay, so whatever value we have, we derived as per that. Here we have value pi by 4 in bracket d plus delta d whole square multiply L plus delta L. Okay, minus, again we have to put the value of V, so pi by 4 into d square into L. Now here only we have to give simplification of that. So if we will simplify, we have to see that term. Pi by 4 here, what will be the simplification? As per a plus b whole square, that simplification will be there. D square plus 2 delta d multiply d plus del d square. It is the simplification of that. Multiply L plus delta L is as it is minus pi by 4 d square L as it is. Again we have to go for simplification, then you can see that pi by 4 as it is. Here that term pi by 4 into d square L as it is. Here whatever simplification is there, this is in between the term. So here focus, d square L is there plus 2 delta d into L. Okay, plus delta d square L. Okay, now plus d square delta L plus 2 delta d into delta L plus delta d square into delta L. So by simplifying these, we put d square L plus 2 delta d into L plus delta d square L plus d square delta L plus 2 delta d into delta L plus delta d square into delta L minus pi by 4 d square L. Here pi by 4 as it is, and based on that simplification, finally we got pi by 4 in bracket d square into delta L plus 2 delta d into L. We can say pi by 4 in bracket d square delta L plus 2 delta d square L. Here we neglected small quantities. Okay, that's why it is that much term. So, based on our previous calculation, delta V upon capital V will be pi by 4 d square into delta L plus 2 into delta d into L divided by our volume pi by 4 d square into L. Again just we have to simplify. So what we will get? Delta L upon L plus 2 delta d upon d. So as per that, delta V upon capital V will be strain 2 plus twice strain 1. So again we will simplify that. So what will be our delta V? Delta V is nothing but delta V is equal to V into strain 2 plus twice strain 1. Now there is a question how we simplified that. So here it is clearly mentioned. Strain 1 is equal to delta D upon D. Strain 2 is equal to delta L upon L. Where strain 1 is equal to circumferential strain and strain 2 is equal to longitudinal strain. So as per that, we got delta V. Now we have to go for thin spherical shell. Okay, so here we have the figure. Here we can say stresses are there in that figure. This is the figure of thin spherical shell, right? You can observe the stresses, you can observe the pressure P, here diameter D is mentioned. So consider a thin spherical shell subjected to internal pressure P as shown in that figure. Where P is the internal pressure, we know D is the diameter of shell, internal diameter of shell, T is the thickness of shell, stress sigma stress in the shell material. So what, as per according to that figure, our total force P will be pi by 4 d square into P, and resisting section as per the figure pi dt. Okay. So stress in cell, it will be stress is equal to total force upon resisting section. So we have to put the value of total force P and value of resisting section. So pi by 4 d square into P divided by pi dt, and if we will simplify, then stress will be PD upon 40. That we have to remember because it is very easy based on the figure as per the explanation, and that will be useful to calculate problems. If efficiency of joint, then stress is equal to PD upon 4T, that efficiency of joint. Okay. Now if we'll go further, then we have to focus on the maximum stress. Okay. In thin cylindrical shell, at any point, two mutually perpendicular stress is 1 hoop stress and longitudinal stress L are acting. These are principal stresses. Hence, maximum shear stress is given by tau max is equal to stress C minus stress L upon 2. We can say sigma C minus sigma L by 2. So as per whatever value we derived for the sigma C and sigma L, we have to put that PD upon 2T minus PD upon 40 whole divided by 2. So if we'll simplify, so it will be PD upon 8T in the plane of stress C and stress L, or we can say that in sigma C and sigma L. The stresses acting on an element of wall of cylinder consist of circumferential stress sigma C, longitudinal stress sigma L, and radial stress P. Now for further discussion, in the plane of stress C and P, the maximum shear stress is tau max is equal to 1 half stress C minus P. So it is similar like sigma C upon 2. Why we neglect P? Because P is very small compared to sigma C. Okay. And that's why it is neglected in this term, and that's why we put that sign that tau max, it is approximately sigma C by 2 because we neglected P. And if we'll consider that, then tau max will be finally PD upon 4T. In the plane of sigma L and P, the maximum shear stress is tau max is equal to 1 half sigma L minus P. Here again we have to neglect P. Why? Because P is very small compared to sigma L, and that's why it is neglected over here, and here we will mention 1 half sigma L, and as per that the final tau max will be PD upon 8T. Okay. So the greatest of these maximum shearing stresses is PD upon 4T, which occur on a plane at 45 degree to the tangent and parallel to the longitudinal axis of the cylinder. These tau max equations we have to remember, that will be helpful to calculate the problem. So now we have to go with another more theory. Change in diameter and volume of a thin spherical shell due to internal pressure. So again we have to go with the term, we have to go with the stress, strain, volume, right? So here consider a thin spherical shell subjected to internal pressure. But D is equal to internal dia of shell, T is equal to internal pressure, T is equal to thickness of shell, stress sigma is equal to stress in the shell material. We know that for thin spherical shell, sigma will be PD upon 4T, and strain in any direction. There is a matter of any direction, so Poisson ratio come in picture. I already told you in previous slide. So strain will be sigma upon E minus sigma upon small m capital E. Here 1 upon m Poisson's ratio. E is equal to modulus of elasticity. E is the modulus of elasticity. So here as per that PD upon 4TE. Why? We know that PD upon 40 E will be like that only. Here again PD upon 40 into ME as it is. Okay. So strain is equal to sigma upon E minus sigma upon ME. We just put a value of sigma E as it is, ME as it is. Then here you can say sigma C and sigma L are same. Okay. So we can say that sigma C is equal to sigma L is equal to sigma, and that's why we put sigma over here and we put same value of sigma PD upon 4T. So don't get confused over here why we put sigma and why we put PD upon 40. Here clearly reason is mentioned. So as per that, and if we will simplify, then a strain in any direction will be PD upon 40 in bracket 1 minus 1 upon m. We know that strain is equal to delta D upon D. Therefore, delta D upon D is equal to PD upon 40 in bracket 1 minus 1 upon m. That will be our equation number 1 because it will be useful to us. So now original volume of sphere V is equal to pi by 6 into D cube. So what will be the final volume? Whenever final volume will be there, so V plus delta V will come in picture. When delta V will come in picture, so there will be a matter of dimension, and dimension will change if dia or length or whatever any other parameter will change, so volume will change. So here change of volume because of the change in dia. So V plus delta V is equal to pi by 6 in bracket D plus delta D whole cube. Therefore, volumetric strain del V upon capital V is equal to V plus del V minus capital V divided by V. That type of thing we have already done our previous theories. Okay, so there isn't any confusion. It is very simple. We have to follow as per our previous theories only. Okay, so here we have to put the value of volume delta V, then V. Okay, so as per that delta V upon V will be pi by 6 in bracket D plus delta D whole cube minus pi by 6D cube. What is that? It is V, volume V. Whatever volume V value is there, we have to put over here and we have to simplify. Here I have clearly mentioned in the PPT that D plus delta D is the final dia of shell. And if we will simplify that, then we will get D cube plus 3D square into delta D minus D cube upon D cube. So after simplifying that, finally we will get delta V upon V will be 3 delta D divided by D. This is our equation number 2. Here we have to keep in mind that neglecting second and higher power of delta D, we got 3 delta D upon D. Otherwise many students will get confused. If we simplify, then the term will be different. But here 3 delta D upon D only mentioned. So don't get confused here. Clearly mentioned, neglecting second and higher power of delta D, we got delta V upon V will be 3 delta D upon D, and this is our equation number 2. Now substitute value of delta D upon D from equation 1, which we discussed in our previous slides. So delta V upon V is equal to 3 PD upon 4 TE in bracket 1 minus 1 upon M. So as per that, therefore delta V will be 3 by 4 PD upon T in bracket 1 minus 1 upon M multiply volume V. Why? Because we know V is a pi by 6 D cube, so that we will carry forward or we will use in next step for simplification purpose. So delta V will be 3 by 4 PD upon TE in bracket 1 minus 1 upon M bracket over pi by 6 into D cube. Here we put the value of V. Now final simplification will be delta V is equal to P pi d raised to 4 upon 8 TE in bracket 1 minus 1 upon M. Now, whatever theories we have seen, whatever basic fundamental we gone through in our previous PPT slides, whatever term we received, whatever the value equation we received, based on that theories, basic concepts, we have to go for the examples. Okay, because that type of problems may be asked in your exam, and maybe it will be helpful to you in your further preparation of this subject. So focus on that problem because it is a very simple and interesting too based on the theories. So here a thin cylindrical shell with internal dia 125 mm and wall thickness 12 mm is subjected to steam pressure 10 Newton per mm square. Find circumferential and longitudinal stress in the shell material. Whenever any problem is given, we have to read the data properly. We have to identify the given data and we have to identify what we have to find in problem. So read that problem. So you will get dia D 125 mm, thickness T is equal to 12 mm, then pressure P is equal to 10 Newton per mm square. We have to find circumferential stress sigma C and longitudinal stress sigma L. As per our theory, we know the equation of circumferential stress sigma C is equal to PD upon 2T and that longitudinal stress sigma L is equal to PD upon 40. This both equation we know, we have the value of P, D and T. We have to simple put that value in equation and we will get the stresses. So here you can see sigma C is equal to PD upon 2T. Here value of P10 is there. Diameter D 125 is there. As per equation 2 mentioned, thickness 12 is mentioned. So circumferential stress will sigma C is equal to 52.08 Newton per mm square. Same way for longitudinal stress, sigma L will be PD upon 40. Value of P10 is there. Value of D125 is there. As per equation 4 is given. Thickness T12 is given and we got longitudinal stress sigma L equal to 26.04 Newton per mm square. So it is very easy that example based on the equation only. Now we will go for another problem. A water main of 800 mm internal dia is carrying water at a pressure head of 100 meter if allowable hook stress is 20 Newton per mm square. Find suitable thickness of pipe. Take density of water 10 kilonewton per meter cube. Okay. What we have to find? Suitable thickness of pipe. Here hoop stress means circumferential stress is given 20. We know the equation of circumferential stress which is mentioned over here as a hoop stress. So sigma C will be PD upon 2T. Okay. Pressure P is given, water density is given. So if we'll go with the data, then instead of pressure, pressure head is given. So pressure P will be your whatever density is given multiply your height. Okay. So pressure head, whatever that pressure head. So pressure head and density of water. So it will be pressure P will be 10 into 100, so it will be 100 kilonewton per mm square means 1 Newton per mm square. Why here? That 10 is density of water, H is head. Now we have to go for hook stress which is given 20. So hook stress means circumferential stress sigma C is equal to PD upon 2T. Now we have P, we have sigma C, we have D here. So can we find T? Yes, we can find. So sigma C20 is equal to P1 into D dia 800 divided by 2 into T. So if we will simplify, then we will get the thickness 20 mm. Okay, so it is very simple. Only little data is just like to make you more aware that how that type of problem asked in exam. So data is little bit tricky, but it is very simple. Okay, now we will go for another problem. In that a boiler shell is to be fabricated from mild steel plate of 12 mm thickness and has to sustain a effective steam pressure of 1232 kilonewton per meter square. If the tensile stress in the M steel means mild steel, so, if the tensile stress in the mild steel plate must not exceed 106 Newton per mm square, determine the maximum permissible diameter of boiler shell. What will be the maximum intensity of shear stress at any point in the material? Here shear stress means there is a matter of tau max, okay, that we already discussed in our theories. So, by reading the problem, we have to identify given data. So, P is given 1232 kilonewton per meter square. We have to convert in Newton per mm square. So, it will be 1.232 Newton per mm square. Here thickness T is given in data. So, it is a 12 mm. So, T will be 12 mm. Stress C must not exceed. Here you can say that if tensile stress in mild steel plate must not exceed 106 Newton per mm square. So here we can say that stress is given. Okay. So stress C will be 106 Newton per mm square. By considering the stress C, that will be PD upon 2T as per the theories we have seen in our previous slide. Stress C will be 106, P is given 1.232, D we have to find as per equation 2, thickness 12 is given. So by simplifying that, we will get diameter D will be 2064.93 mm. Now, if we'll go for the stress L, then that will be PD upon 40. Okay. And again we have followed the same method. P is given, dia is given. We have to put 4 as per equation. We have to put the value of T 12 mm in that. By simplifying that, we will get stress L is equal to 53 Newton per mm square. Now maximum shear stress tau max will be stress C minus stress L divided by 2. So 106 minus 53 divided by 2 will be 26.5 Newton per mm square. So it is also based on the equation and very easy. If your theoretical fundamental concept it is clear based on your previous slide, then you can easily calculate this problem. Now this is one another problem. A thin cylindrical shell of 600 mm dia is 500 mm long and 10 mm thick. It is subjected to an internal pressure of 2 Newton per mm square. Calculate the change in diameter, length and volume. Take E is equal to 200 gigapascal and Poisson's ratio 1 upon m will be 0.27. So whatever I told, as per that we have to read the data. We have to identify which data is given and what we have to find. Here calculate the change in dia, length and volume that we have to find. But before that we have to see what is given. So dia D 600 mm is given, length L 1500 mm is given, E is given 200 into 10 cube Newton per mm square. 1 upon m Poisson's ratio is given. Thickness T is equal to 10 mm is given. Then pressure P is equal to 2 Newton per mm square is given. So as per our equations of stresses, we will go with the equation stress C is equal to PD upon 2T. We will put all the value of P2, D600, 2 as per equation, T thickness 10, and we will get stress C is equal to 60 Newton per mm square, and sigma L is equal to PD upon 40. Value of P2 is there, value of D600 is there, as per equation 4 will be there, thickness T10 is given, and by solving that we will get stress L is equal to 30 Newton per mm square. Now there is a matter of strain. So strain 1 is equal to sigma C upon capital E minus sigma L upon small m into capital E. Okay. So as per that we will put the value of stress is 60, stress L 30. Here value of E is mentioned 200 into 10 cube. Here value of E is given 200 into 10 cube. Now 1 upon m is 0.27. So as per that we put the value of 1 upon m over here. So that is 1 upon m will be 0.27. So it will go up, and that 0.7 will be here in multiplication with that term. Okay. So it is just a simple simplification. So don't get confused how 1 upon m come over here. It is a simple maths. So 60 upon 200 into 10 cube minus 10 into 0.27 divided by 200 into 10 cube. If we simplify, then the value will be sigma strain 1. Strain 1 will be 0.00002595. You can use your calci and same value you will get. Now strain 2 will be sigma L upon E minus sigma C upon m E. Okay, you can see the difference between these equations. 30 upon 200 into 10 cube minus 16 into 0.27 divided by 200 into 10 cube. If we will simplification of that, we will do simplification, then strain 2 will be 0.000069. Now what we have to do? We are interested to find change in dia, length and volume. So now delta D is equal to strain 1 into D. D is given. So 0.0002595 into 600. So delta D means change in dia will be 0.1557 mm. First value we calculated. Now change in length. So delta L. This is strain 2 into L. Strain 2 0.000069 multiply value of L 1500. So change in length will be 0.1035 mm. Now there is a matter of change in volume. So delta V upon original volume is equal to strain 2 plus twice strain 1. So as per that equation, we will put all the values by simplification of that equation. Value of strain 2, value of strain 1 with multiplication 2, and in this whole multiplication volume we will put the value and we will get change in volume 249379.62 mm cube. Now don't get confused regarding the volume, because here clearly mentioned volume V is equal to pi by 4 d square into L. Okay, so pi by 4 d square means 600 square and L means 1500. So V means volume will be 424115008 is mentioned over here, and based on that we find the change in volume. So dear student, today from the lecture of thin cylinder, we have gone through basic concept, basic definition, basic equation and few important theories regarding the thin cylinder. Based on that, we have calculated problem. That theories, that problem, that fundamental discussion will be helpful to you to prepare that thin cylindrical topic and it will be helpful to you in your subject preparation as well for exam preparation. So whatever I want to convey to you that already I have clearly mentioned in PPT. You go through that video lecture, try to understand and prepare well. So our today's lecture is completed over here. I will come in next lecture with new topic. Till that, study well, stay safe, take care and all the very best. Thank you.